If they get up here, you got to worry. So we're real grateful to be here each and every week, no matter what happens to us. We climb back up. So I know no matter what, we'll be back. We're going to New Hampshire, have some fun with the trucks next week. But hopefully we'll get that Dodge Challenger, Hip Chicks Fundraisers Dodge Challenger out here very, very soon.
The Granite State, we love going to New England, don't we, Rick?
We definitely do. And Jennifer Jo Cobb was scheduled to go out second right after Tim Andrews, but obviously if you don't have a car, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a distraction for her. She needs everything to go right, get the focus right. She did a great job in the Truck Series race, qualifying yesterday, stepping up when she needed to. But Jeff, when those kind of things go on, you got distractions on the way your car is, that can be very, very detrimental to the driver.
I think it is, because usually the crew chief winds up getting the prayer. He's frustrated because he's had issues getting through the scales. He's not able to give that kind of vote of confidence sometimes, because the driver, you've been there sitting on that wall waiting on the car wondering what's going on. What did he have to do to my car? The last time I was in it, I felt pretty good. What do they have to adjust on? So sometimes it kind of like rattles their confidence, so the crew chief's got to settle them back down. So a lot can happen, because you're not ready to qualify.
Tim Andrews first out on the racetrack. 32.434 is the mark that everyone will be shooting for. Let's go back into the garage area to Wendy Venerini.
Thank you, Rick. And I am in the backside of the Nationwide garage where the cars will be pulling in this afternoon. But first, we want to catch up with Brian Scott, who was headed out to the grid in just a few moments. Brian, we ended Nationwide practice, and we didn't get a chance to tell this story, but you guys actually changed engines in your race car yesterday. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a ghost pop up in second practice. After the first lap of second practice, I picked up a little bit of a harmonic vibration. It wasn't anything big. They happen sometimes, and sometimes it's nothing, but it kept getting worse, and we lost speed for no other reason. Our handling got better, but our speed got worse. So we did a couple more runs, and I kept saying, I think there's something here. We changed gears. We looked at a bunch of things, and finally
a little uncertainty,
we were able to,
though, when you put a new engine in a race car.
And that's a great question that Wendy asked, if it's a sealed engine, because if it was a sealed engine and they put a new engine in there, he would be able to keep his position in qualifying and whatever spot they would pick for pit road, because they allow a sealed engine to be replaced if they have a problem with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the unique things about the Nationwide Series. But, hey, if it doesn't work out and he does start in the back and is able to win the race, I mean, he would join two other drivers that have been able to do that so far this year.
Right.
And Joey Logano, as far as Daytona is concerned, he won from the back.
Right.
And then Marcus Ambrose got there late from qualifying. He had to start in the back of the pack when he won up there in Montreal. But, when what Rick is talking about when he says sealed engine, NASCAR, when you put a new engine in the car, they come around, they inspect it, they pump it, they do everything they can to it to make sure it's right. And if you want to elect to run that engine again, they'll put a seal on it. So you can't disassemble the engine. It's what they call a sealed engine for that reason. You can't take the heads off or anything like that. And you can haul on the truck. As you've already pointed out, if something happens to your engine and you put that sealed engine back in, which has got limited miles on it,
right,
then it's okay to be able to qualify it and you still be able to retain your spot. If you put a brand new one in, you got to go to the back of the pack.
Matt Carter goes out, takes over the top spot, 31.813. That was his fast lap on his first lap. Qualifying continues here on Speed. Stay with us. On the racetrack, including the 75 of Carl Long, who also is just coming off of the track at 32.001. And again, there are 47 cars here fighting for 43 spots. 4 of the go-or-go-homers have been on the racetrack. The slowest of those right now, that 42 of Tim Andrews.
So interested in qualifying, Jeff, in the Camping World Truck Series. A lot of drivers went faster on that second lap. It seemed like it took them a little bit longer to get that momentum built up with these tapered, spacered engines. But I think once we get further down the line in qualifying, the drivers that are really in contention for the pole, you would still think that lap number 1 ought to be the money lap.
Well, it might be, but let's talk about, compared to what they practiced at yesterday, track was pretty much cloudy all day. And so the conditions were, a lot better for grip than what it is today. And I'm just wondering that even though it's sunny out, it still feels like it's cool. And maybe you have to get a little heat in these tires to make them grip like you need to, because you're right. I mean, I'm sitting there looking a moment ago. We got 3 guys that went faster on the first lap. We got 3 guys that have run faster on the second lap. So really, we're not too sure how this is going to kind of play out. But I see where you're coming from. I'm really curious to see how it's going to work out, because this is a new tire that Goodyear brought this time, a little different than what they're used to seeing. And I think a lot of people say it's holding on there, it's not wearing out. So that can depend on your point of view. It can be good or it can be bad.
Morgan Shepherd Goes 32.785. He is locked into the show already, but the slowest of the 6 that have been on the racetrack now out onto the track. In the number 49 is Mark Green. Let's go back trackside though to Bob Diller.
TJ Bell, a native of Reno, Nevada, and an air tragedy certainly that we're all paying attention to yesterday. Right now, TJ, I know we talked earlier today, you're racing with a heavy heart.
Yeah, definitely. You know, my thoughts and prayers and everything go out to the people in Reno, Nevada. That place is, you know, near and dear to my heart. I grew up racing go-karts right under one of the pylons there, and I know it's real special for the town of Reno, for our state, and it's just bad when we see our hometown make national news in such a tragic way.
TJ Bell getting ready to go out to qualify with that heavy heart today, Rick.
Thanks, Bob. If you hadn't heard about it, there were 3 fatalities in an air race that was taking place. One of the planes had just taken off and had problems, and 3 fatalities, one of those being the pilot of that plane. So very difficult situation in Reno as we see Mark Green coming off of the racetrack. He was second quick in his qualifying effort. Now it was his first lap that was his fastest. He slowed down just a bit on his second lap. 31.892 is the time of record for Mark Green. Everyone's still chasing after Matt Carter. He's on the top of the chart in his Ford at 31.813. Welcome back. Dennis Setzer just coming off the racetrack. He's third quick in his qualifying effort. He's another one of the drivers that are a go or go home driver. He went 31.920 on his second lap. That was,
you know, we'll continue to watch how this bumping process goes, because right now Dennis Setzer, you know, we talked a moment ago about his qualifying effort, picked up really nicely on his second lap, or first lap, I mean, and winds up being fourth quickest, but he's on the bubble right now. So one more car trying to get in could be Jennifer Jo Cobb. She doesn't run quick enough. It'll lock Dennis Setzer in the race.
And we talked about a difficult situation for Jennifer Jo Cobb. She was supposed to go out second in qualifying. Her car wasn't there. It hadn't gotten through tech in time. So now she's on the racetrack, and it doesn't look good on her first lap. 32.5.
Really going to have to pick it up here. I'm sure her crew chief is in her ear telling her that she really needs to pick up. She's going to need at least a half a second to try to give herself a chance to get in this show. But when you get your car's not on pit road, you know, when you try to get in a hurry as a driver and you get in and things are rushed up a little bit, can definitely throw off your concentration.
And not having any more experience in what she does. But I'm impressed right now. She's making the most of the second lap. If she can hustle back the start-finish line, she's definitely going to pick up.
Across the stride per second lap is faster than her first lap, 32.312. But of the ones that are on the bubble, she is down in the third spot of the 4 that potentially will go home today.
On the other side of the coin, that does lock in Mark Green in the 49 car, who he ran a 31.89 a little ways back. Another
Also
one, lap 2 was a faster lap. But Timmy Hill's been very impressive in several races this year qualifying, Jeff. He's not scared to go fast.
No, he's not. And again, has a bright future. Currently our rookie year point leader, but getting a lot of pressure put on him right now by Ryan Truex, who is driving this weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing. So I think we'll have quite a battle all the way down to the end of the season as far as they're concerned in that rookie of the year competition.
TJ Bell on the racetrack, Reno, Nevada native.
Easy for you to say, but that car right there is wiggling and wobbling.
So TJ Bell shuts her down after his second lap, 31.964. And that is 7th quick. He locks himself into the race. Let's go down to Bob.
This month to figure out if she's in the battle for the ASA National Championship. So excited for her and thrilled to death to be here in Chicago. And that is pretty cool what you said. There's 3 Wallaces in the top 12 in points here in the Nationwide Series. Chrissy is a champion. Way cool.
Wallace, not a bad racing family. And yeah, that's right. There's that other guy named Rusty.
What'd he do? Oh, wait a minute. He had a little success in the Blue Deuce. Angela Cope, this is the niece of Darren Cope on the racetrack now. She'll have to race her way in. She's not quick enough on her first lap. Can she do it on lap number 2?
She got a little too high up off that turn 4 right there. Late gave back what she had gained on that second lap, Rick.
And now her fate is not in her hands any longer. 32.245 was her first lap time. She slowed down on lap number 2. But she is the 4th, or she's the fastest, but of the 4, she's right on the bubble as far as the drivers that will either race later this afternoon or will have to go home. And welcome back. A crisp morning here in Chicago. as we're qualifying for the Nationwide Series, getting ready for their race this afternoon, just coming off of the racetrack. Danny O'Quinn, 2006 Nationwide Series Rookie of the Year. Danny was 10th quick in his qualifying effort, and he locks himself into the show just ahead of Angela Cope. Now on the racetrack, the 41 of Johnny Chapman on the clock. And let's go back to Wendy Venerini.
Thanks, Rick. Back in the garage, I'm with Jennifer Jo Cobb, who has qualified 13th of the 15 cars. Jennifer, I know you were on the 5-minute clock. How much does that play with your psyche, and do you think your time's going to hold up to make the race?
We did not make this race today, and it's so unfortunate. There's so much heart, dedication, and hard work that goes into this team. These guys get paid, you know, much less than half what everybody else gets paid, and they work much harder, and it's just a lack of resources. And I've never quite seen failure as a good reason to quit. And you know, I want to cry, I want to say a bunch of mean things, and I want to be mad. And I already threw my my device, you know, when I got out of the car. But at the end of the day, you know, we'll be back. We'll be in New Hampshire next week with a new driver and myself racing 2 trucks, and we'll be in Dover. And used to be the end of the world was if you didn't qualify for the race, and now it's very character building, and I am grateful that I get to live my dream each and every weekend, whether it's a failure or a success. The successes are worth it.
All right, well, thank you very much. She's a fighter. We will see her next week.
And disappointment, obviously, with Jennifer Jo Cobb. She says she's out of the race. The way qualifying works, it's based upon the qualifying order is set on how they practiced yesterday. They had almost 2.5 hours of practice on the racetrack, and they go from slowest to fastest. That's why she right now is saying, I'm not going to make this race. But there are still 6 drivers that have to race their way in, but they were faster in practice than she was yesterday.
Well, you know, in a situation like Jennifer Jo Cobb with a small team, limited resources, limited cars, tires in practice, everything has to go exactly right. You have to get through inspection the right way, get good laps in practice, get a good qualifying draw, get that money lap at the exact time you need it. Everything has to go exactly right in a situation like them. When you got a big field like they do here, for her to get in the show.
It really is, and I don't want people to think, well, you know, look at her. She's getting ready to cry like a woman. That's not the case right there, folks. I mean, I've been in that situation. Had missed races before, and as a man you want to cry because you put your heart and soul into doing this stuff. And everybody who misses this race today will feel the way she does. They may not be showing it outwardly, but there's a lot of mad and dejected drivers down there right now, as well as crewmen. Yeah. Have put a lot of work into getting here, put a lot of work in practice during Friday's practice sessions and everything, and now they got to load it all up, and they have to leave here. And you don't understand the embarrassment. We got a car sideways right there. Good catch right there by Miller. But how the embarrassment is when you have your hauler lead before the race is run.
And the other thing for a lot of these teams too, Jeff, I know we talk about it a lot, but it's a snowball effect because they will probably, depending on this $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 payday from this race, to get them a lot of the resources and tires and travel and hotels for the next race. But watch this 46 car.
Chase Miller gets down here in the corner here, and all of a sudden his car just steps out on him. I mean, it starts sliding. Can't believe he was able to catch it and control it as well as he did, Herman.
He did a good job right there as a driver of not overcorrecting. Exactly. Because a lot of times as a driver, you want to be a hero and you get sideways and you correct it too much.
One of the 18 on the track, his first lap was fast at 31.617. So Kevin Conway has now set the mark that everyone will shoot for. .03 of Scott Riggs now on the clock while he is running his qualifying effort. Let's go back to Bob.
Air hogs on the hood of the number 7 car for Jamie McMurray this week for Junior Motorsports. And Jamie, we want to know, are you going to hog it up here in qualifying?
Well, we struggled being too tight all day yesterday, and they freed the car up a lot. So it's hard over here because you only get that one set of tires, and so as the fuel burns off, the car naturally gets tighter. And then you sticker it up for qualifying, and normally it's loose. So I don't know what we're going to have. Tony Jr. said that they've changed some stuff, and hopefully our Air Hog Chevrolet will be good. You have to run like literally flat out. You kind of give like a little courtesy lift, but it's a little nerve-wracking over here.
How about that, Rick? A courtesy lift. You ever hear that before?
Well, ever since they put the tapered spacers on these engines, I don't think anyone wants to do a courtesy lift on that accelerator.
Well, what you do with these kind of cars, when your butt tells you to lift, you go another couple seconds, then you roll it just a little bit, and that might be enough.
Well, Scott Riggs, 5th quick in his qualifying run at 31.837.
That's one of the funny things you always get, you know, when I was driving a lot they would say, you know, on a racetrack, how do you know when you're supposed to lift, and how do you know this, and how do you know that? Like,
it's his second lap fastest up to this point.
Yeah, Joey Gase had a good first lap. Like he was trying to pick it up more on lap 2. Got to the entrance of turn 3, and that car washed up the racetrack a little bit on him. He had to bag out of the throttle and realized his first lap was a pretty good lap. But that's what you got to have to run fast in the second lap, Jeff. Sometimes it can come down to air pressure and those kind of things. He really lost a lot on lap 2.
Yeah, really, he's got bobbing out effect right there. It looks like on the left front, see a little bit of tire smoke, car bouncing around, but the 18-year-old's doing a pretty good job of hanging on to it.
J.J. Yaley on the clock in his number 27.
He locks himself in on lap 1 at a 31.89.
12th quick for Yaley. We'll see if he's able to pick it up on lap number 2.
Still quite a bit slower than he ran in practice. He had run a lap yesterday in practice of a 31.28. So like Jeff talked about, this racetrack is going to go through some changes in this qualifying session, and you got to hit that right combination to get maximum grip.
Yaley goes all the way down to the apron, across the stripe, moves up to 9th quick, 31.840. So a slight pickup on lap number 2. Joey Logano standing by with Bob Dillner.